Morning. 12 after 8 a.m. Eastern time. So we're looking at a simplified daily chart here. No colors in the bars, just kind of clean it up here and kind of get a wedge pattern, as we've kind of ground up. And then, as you can see, the last 4 days at least, we've kind of been in a balancing right around the 30-day highest volume node, volume point of control. What's this mean? Well, I think today is it's important to think about the news in the context we're in news-wise. Of course, we've got the government shutdown situation going on, which there might be a tweet, that could throw things one way or the other, come out. We've got Brexit vote going on. We've got a Draghi speech at 10 a.m., I believe. That's something to kind of be on the lookout for. We do have a little bit of positive sentiment based on the fact that the Federal Reserve is supposedly not going to be is only going to, well, there's just talk of only limiting the rate hikes. That's what I'm trying to say. So in 15 minutes, we have some news coming out. If there's inflation contraction, on one hand, that's good. On the other hand, people could look at it as slowing of the economy. So, as always, the news and the interpretation of it is very opinionated. And generally, if you're going to read any commentary on it, they're going to hedge either one way or the other. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong, but they could always say, "Well, see, I told you," if they talk both sides out of their mouth, talk out of both sides of their mouth. so to speak. So that's going on. So again, what does that mean? Well, we're sort of balancing, and we may continue to balance no matter what happens until some of this stuff shakes out with intermittent jerkiness as the news happens. So the takeaway for me on that is just be aware of the news times and watch what happens. And if you're in a position, be protected. If you're not in a position, don't just jump in right before the news and not be aware that's going to happen, because you might just get shaken out. So that's something I try to always remember, and I must say sometimes I don't. So let's move forward here. All right, so one nifty little thing you can do sometimes is working with trend lines and whatnot is you've got a crosshairs, and it will default into like a little, you can see it falls into a little slot where the next daily bar is going to open up, or any time bar really. So you can see the extension of this trend line puts us right now at 83. We'd open just inside of this, so we might find a little support here at 78.50. Now this is hard to be very, very accurate to the tick, but you can try to kind of get an idea. All right, if I put the crosshairs right on there, 79.25. So let me go over the profile chart, see what I've got already in there. 79.25. All right, so it's just below the overnight low, and that's an area we'd be looking for coming back into the overnight range, or it'd be outside of the yesterday's value area. Of course, there's a pivot point here, and we might get a bounce here if we do indeed take it out. So know that it might go to 79.25 and bounce, and then hey, with trend lines, there's often throwover, so could come on down here. As I've said again and again, I'll say it again. These levels these days are sort of permeable, whereas in times past they were a little, especially if it was just local traders, be a little bit more to the tick, to the level itself. So that being said, as you can see, this is an area colored blue, where I'm not going to necessarily drop this down. Well, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Okay. This is an area where buyers might step in. This is an area where buyers might step in. This is also the top of a balancing area that if we get sucked into, you want to look for possibility that we explore it to the downside. But if we get rejected, this is an area where it might reject out of. That's what that is. So, all right. let's take a pause for a minute. I want to kind of review. This is partly relevant to the going forward, is because it does talk about the overnight. But again, if we're gonna when I get a chart that's this busy looking, and it's probably offensive to the sensibilities. When you just remember, when you construct one of these and you're familiar with all your areas and levels, it's very much an orderly mess. You know what you're looking at. You know when you're looking at a little area of what to focus in on in that area, and that's, like eating an elephant one bite at a time. So every little spot's a bite. So let me go to I'm going to open up this screenshot I took this morning. Let me start with early. All right, so now this level right here, or area, I don't like the word level. This area right here, I put in this morning. Okay, so let's disregard that, even though that looks like, wow, look where the overnight, look, I did not have that in there. Okay, as of yesterday, I probably could have drawn it last night, but I didn't. Um, but this was there. Okay, so you can see how had someone gotten long in here, um, could have done well, very well indeed overnight, because it went on up, and then that's the top of V. I'm not sure if it's in the next picture. Let's see here. Yeah, right here. Let me go back. Okay, that's right. Okay, so trucked on up. Um, you can see as we got above these areas, like this red area became support, and we got up here. There was selling to be had. I'm not going to bring this through a minute chart for the sake of time this morning, but you can see how short up here in the overnight, um, that area was there for the taking uh, since 7:20 yesterday morning, at least, if not before that. Meaning, let's see, yesterday was Monday. I don't remember if this was put on there yesterday or not. Could have been there since last week. So then we trucked on down, and brings us down to the area we're in today. So just want to go over that for a minute to help build a little confidence if you did want to try to, let's see here. Didn't realize I had so many of those open. If you want to try to play around with this and see how they work for you. Again, these are not impossible to draw. You'd have to just get a lot of screen time to, number one, kind of learn how to do it, and number two, get confidence in it. You can have the best areas in the world on a chart, but if you don't have the confidence to trade them, then what good are they? So I was never a good shadow trader of anyone. I wanted to do my own work. I wanted to do my own, understand things. That's been sort of a blessing and a curse to, like, I need to understand it and what's going on. But when you get to the blessing part of it, hey, it's it's a good thing. All right, so what are we looking at right now? The important takeaway, and I'm gonna get back to the daily chart. Okay, it looks like I'm crisscrossing across the field here. But as sort of stream of consciousness, as I see these things, I'll reiterate them. But this is very important right now. If we were to open right now, and we probably won't, because we're an hour and 10 minutes away from the open, we're right now right on the volume point of control from yesterday. We're in value and in range, so that makes usually for a choppy situation where you can easily get chewed up, shaken out. And I really do like my first trade to be a winner. That's it's like getting a first impression with someone. It's like getting off the right foot with someone. You want it to start well. you know you want people to start well with you, and you want to start well with people. Same thing with the market. You want to start your trading day well, and first of all, that's being rested, prepared, and calm and ready to make a decision. But going into that decision, when you're opening in range in value around the VPOC, especially when the news is coming out pre-market, and then there may be some shakeout when markets on our orders on open kick in and the open. got to watch, watch your back and just take it easy a minute. Doesn't mean it isn't tradable. I'm not saying that at all. All right, so let's move back to where we started. So looking at this wedge pattern, what does that mean? Are we bullish? Uh, are we bearish? Thought I lost my feed there for a second. Pull it down. Okay. Let me get my pointer back on. Okay. Well, one thing I like to do is say, I don't know whether we're bullish or bearish or not. I do know what's been going on. What is going on right now is we are balancing. So until something changes, don't assume anything's changed. How about that? There's a nugget for you. So again, we want to watch what happens around these inflection points or areas of where it may indicate change. If there's change, we want to understand what's changed and if it's going to continue. So let's look at this in the 24-hour. All right, one thing to consider is that we've had lower volume up here at these levels. I do believe that this is more of a again, this is a term I'm not in favor of, but it's a corrective type of a move up. Does it mean that we won't continue up? No. Does it mean we're going to turn back down? Nope. Does it mean we're going to go sideways? Not necessarily. But right now, this is not necessarily, even though we've been one time framing up, week in the past week or so, that stopped and we've been going sideways. Is this going to continue? Is this going to be a bull trend? Doesn't look like it. I mean, again, this is the fundamentals may change that, but right now it's not looking like that at all. Now we are getting squeezed a little bit between trend lines and some averages, and we are in a bit of a 4 or 5 day balance, and we except for this trend line and this moving average, which is a 9 period, above it is a bit bullish. Right now we're looking like we're gonna go take out or not take out. I don't know about take out, but we're gonna come back down to maybe 2560 area. Okay. Double check that. I'll put the prices on the left if I can. All right, well, I won't waste any more time on that if that didn't put it in the middle and it didn't. Need to bring it forward here. I can just check out the anchors. That's what I can do. Okay, yeah, 25, 60, 50. Okay, well, that 2 ticks can make a big difference. So 25, 60, 50 is the bottom of this range. Could have just checked the low on this one. It looks like we're headed there. But again, we may have a few. We may find some support here in this area, especially it's a lower volume node. Not as much interest. If you can see that, not as much interest in here. It may kind of squeeze up this line, sideways to up, maybe, right? So again, we got to be mindful of that kind of thing. Let's take a look at the where we'll be here. So we're going to open up down here below this, right? So if we're going to open up below this trend line, we want to look for possibility of it finding resistance against this trend line, So it may not get all the way back up to the high here of the range, which was what was it? Looks like 96.75. Okay. So I do believe, let me go back over here. No, 93.75. I had a trading range trend line 93.75, and let's see, where did I get that from? Let's see. That must have been here, 93.75. Yeah, I did get it off here. So I have that 93.75. Okay, what does that mean? So I put this yellow line on here. This is sort of a point of decision. And, it's interesting. We have a distribution down here that we were in yesterday, and that we're back down in the overnight. We've got a distribution down here that's, mostly separate from this upper distribution. If we get back in this upper distribution and it holds, look to continue higher. That's basically all it means. Okay, so and here I was talking about wanting to make these videos a lot, make them 5 minutes or less. Well, all right, well, what do you want for nothing? So, um, 25.51 on the regular trading hours, this average, that's kind of a ways away. Of course, we could get there. I'm going to get a rubber band and snap my wrist to try to stop saying things that go without saying. Like that's just my opinion. I don't know for sure. Maybe it goes without saying in trading. And if you don't know that by now, then you're going to have way too high expectations of anybody's opinion, and you might have way too much confidence in yourself at times. It's like you don't know what will happen. Really a 15-minute chart. Okay, so just bringing it down to a balancing on a 15-minute chart going back several days, you can see how we've just kind of meandered around kind of the upside. Now we're towards back down the downside. Is it going to continue all the way down to 60.50? I don't know. This is a simplified way of looking at this. There's that range. There's the trend line, this and that. You can see where it came up in the overnight to 98.87-ish. It's a little higher than that, but there's a 50 moving average there. I look at moving averages. I draw from a lot of different disciplines that I've encountered and spent some time on, and drawn a lot of things from, and learned to respect. And moving averages are something that can tell you a lot of information, or give you a little clue, and the market is always telegraphing clues. And if you listen, if you speak Navajo, you want to know an Indian. How about that? I just made that up. All right. You might get a clue. Might get something that somebody else won't listen to or doesn't understand. Okay. So, all right, let's time probably to drill down to the profiles. Let me see what else I looked at here. 5 minutes. This is a little bit more microscopic. Some areas. Let's see. Let's see here. All right, let's just get back to the profile. So this morning, right now, and the news just came out. What's going to happen? We're going to truck down to the pivot point. We're going to go up. Looks like it's holding right now at 81.75. That could change, but when we've got it 3-4 wide within a tick or two of each other, it looks like the market's being held there for some reason. Of course, that could give out. Looking on the dome, there's a lot more waiting to get long down here than there is here. I need my rubber band because I'm about to say, of course, that could disappear. If you don't know that by now, then after watching my videos, then you're listening to my videos, you're not paying attention. Okay, so still have not come down, taken out the low based on the news. Full minute in. It's not really active. It doesn't look like. I'm not looking at my order flow or anything like that. There we go. Getting a little chop. If we open back in here, in range and value, which seems odds are fairly good. I'm an odds player. Odds are fairly good. It's very similar to yesterday's open, I believe. Let me go back and look. Okay. Yeah, so we were right on the VPOC and the TPOC in the overnight. We were in the middle of a balance area. We were sort of between, at least when I did the pre-market, between two areas to look to buy or sell. And when it opened, it ticked up. You can see where the red line is. That's the top of the opening range, and it trucked on back down, and it came down to the bottom of the overnight value area low. And buyers stepped in, and boom, 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 boom. We're on the way to the moon, sort of. And once again, hopefully a little bit of the noise of the chart is making a little more sense. That if we open in here, and I'll have to come back because it's early, it's an hour away yet, to maybe do a little bit more of an update. But it doesn't seem like we're getting a huge push to the downside. So again, this is a pre-market, you could say. that's what we're looking at. And unless we get outside this value area, we are opening in range, in value. That gets a little more concentrated based on, at least from my work, this balance area. And if we're within it, or in between the POCs especially, um, you could play these areas using your techniques. Um, and that's really all I have. So, what could happen? Well, we could completely rotate around in here. Let me look at something over here. So here we are. We could continue to build this out all around this VPOC. We're in one of those areas. On a daily basis, you can get a lot of chop around the VPOC. On a 30-day basis, the same kind of thing. So we could continue to just balance, because remember, the context of everything is we're waiting for the Brexit vote. There's a Draghi speech based on that. That's kind of big news in the global relationships of what's going to happen. And, it may be like what the Fed days used to be of old. I sound like I'm ancient. I'm not. I'm kind of a newbie still. So where it used to be like on Fed days, it just was very quiet, responsive, rotational, all the way up until about 2 p.m. And it's not quite that way anymore lately, since this past year, last February. It just seems, I don't know if a lot of people got wiped out. If somebody tell me. All of a sudden, the books are a lot thinner. There's a lot wider ranges, a lot more whippy moves all day long. So you can get a lot of trading ground covered and then get back to where you started before the Fed opens. It just happens a lot differently now. So, okay, so it's been a very talkative video. Hope you've gotten something out of it. You can always click on your, if I talk too fast for you, you can always slow it down in your YouTube settings. And if I go too slow for you, you can speed it up a quarter notch. And again, please like and subscribe. If you have some positive feedback, please leave a comment. If this isn't for you, just move on, please. And then if because I have had some people, I've had some strange ones before, and it's like, it's the internet, so what do you know? So let's see what else. Yeah, like, subscribe. After the 31st, these aren't going to get pushed out to Twitter. As I've said before, I'm not really a Twitter person, but I am on Twitter, Benjamin Ramey. I should probably make just a trading Twitter, but anyway, you can find me and subscribe there. Get updates if that's your thing, if that's where you kind of get news, get stuff of interest to you. And as far as these areas, you could take a screenshot. You could pause the video, whatever, put them in yourself. But at some point, I do know how to. I knew how to do lines. I used to share lines with some traders, and to do the colored areas and stuff, I've got that. That's a little bit more involved, but it would require someone's email address, and I'd add them. And if I'm going to do that, of course, you're going to want me to be committed to doing that, and I do too. I don't want to be inconsistent with it if you begin to rely on them. The point would be to learn to do your own. And anyway, that's all future stuff. I'm just I'm just working it out. Look, in a couple weeks, I've finally gotten the hang of this, and I'm pretty tech savvy. I mean, I really am. I've just YouTube and Google Plus and this stuff. I find it extremely not intuitive, or it's disorderly. It seems like a messy room. It just, everything's tohu bohu. It's just like things just aren't. I can't believe after all this time, so many things are still beta and they don't have features that just seem like just ought to be there. Anyway, I'm not running that company, so all right. Hope you have a good morning. I may be back in an hour or 40 minutes or so to tweak this a bit, and we can now turn this red possibly for now. So that's how that works. Let's get back to the profile. Oh, one chart I didn't pull up is, this is helpful to look at. So one potential situation, now that we're here, is we've got, this whole little area that could be backfilled in, you know. Um, don't know. And it's not just see it's kind of tricky. You can look at it like it's this little area right here, but it can be, even though there's jagged edges from here down to here, a little throw over too. So I would even include that. Let's just cover all the bases. Well, I can't get that to. Yeah, sometimes as great as Sierra Charts is, well, I don't really want to say anything bad about Sierra Charts because it's a great platform. Um, so you can, if you don't have Sierra Charts and you're using something else and you're paying hundreds of dollars a month, if you don't have market profile, you need to get Sierra Charts. Trust me on this. Um, you can get an entire year for under $275, an entire year, and that includes a TPO profile, um, numbers bars, you name it. I mean, it's just a fantastic platform. It's got um, a lot of great features, a lot of great, whatever your style of trading is. Um, it probably has the tools in there. Check it out, sierrachart.com. Um, I think I've found a home there. I've had them for I don't know if this is going my third year, second year. I've had several, and I'm they've been good platforms, but this you just can't beat it. So you know I'm not just about making money. I'm about saving money, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of things out there that just seem like utter money grabs. And one thing I like about these guys is they seem to be along the GNU open source type of people, even though this isn't free, and nor should it be necessarily. They that's the kind of tech people they seem to be to me. So I like those kind of people. All right, that's enough. I'm rambling a bit. See you later. Bye.